Hey guys, Chris Dunn here, aka the Boogie Man. On this episode of Boogie Tech, update on Mama Boogie. All we've got done, which has been a lot. It is the Sunday after the 4th of July. Also, we got some more updates on some other stuff. It'll be in another video. But I'm going to walk you around Mama Boogie and what all we've got done. Pretty much the engine set. Frame connectors are in, trunk pan's ready to install where we modified it. I'm going to walk you around it, show you everything we got done. So hold on, stay tuned. Let's roll. All right, guys. I'm going to walk you through what we've done on our trunk pan. Okay, I had to cut the floor out of the car. The trunk pan out. It was in pretty bad shape, and I was going to try to keep it. But when we put the shocks and all in, they got in the way and whatnot. So what I done is ordered a brand new replacement trunk pan off of eBay. I forgot what it was, $161, something like that. Well, I ended up having to shorten it by 7 inches. All right, so I had to take 7 inches out of it. And as if you notice, it actually shrinks, so it tapers. Well, I really wasn't thinking when I done it. So what I had to do here is I put the 7 inches out. I put it back together right here. Then I had to cut it here and pull it back together. And this is what I'm talking about when I tell people we hammer weld. So basically, I TIG this. I take my dolly flat, I go under and I go, and I relieve that weld, and I get all the warpage out of it. So this thing turned out super, super nice. I mean, it's as slick as, it turned out so nice to be under the car and you can't see it, which sucks. But it turned out really nice, and it fits right in the car. In fact, we'll walk over there and stick it in. This part's done. The cover's done, and now I've just got to get time to trim out what's left in the car to fit this in. But all in all, I think it turned out pretty nice. You won't even be able to tell it. We put it in. I'd take your time and blend it around these beads. I got the beads to line back up, which is pretty awesome, to be honest with you. So let's walk over here and let's go stick it in the car. Okay, what we're talking about when I say we're hammering the weld, when we TIGged up the pan like I just showed you, after we TIG it, we hammer it. And what we're trying to do, and a lot of people explain this on YouTube, but I don't know if they explain it in the way I'm going to put it in common sense. Here's your piece of metal. Here's your piece of metal. When you weld all of this right here, all right, and I'm exaggerating the gap. When you weld that, it's big. When it cools, it shrinks. And as it shrinks, it pulls the metal. I'm just going to say it like that right there. And what that does is it pulls it, okay? That's where your warpage comes from. So when you take your hammer and your dolly, basically under here, and you're tapping it, you're relieving the weld. You're stretching it. And once you stretch the weld, it'll go back to being flat. Because basically, it was hot. And what happens when things cool? They contract, or at least on steel, and it comes together. All right? Hammer it, and you don't got to now, knocking in the next week. Lightly tapping it, and basically, you're pushing the weld and you're spreading it back out. So that's what I mean when we say we're, hammer welding it. I weld it, and then we hammer and relieve it. Okay? Thanks, guys. All right. Now, this is it sitting in the car. You notice how good it fits. It fits great up through here. And basically, we had to shorten it off because of this. See that right there? And we took 7 inches out of it. But I wanted it to look factory, so once I cut it and stick it in, it will. Now, here's the cover, right? This cover here goes over the shocks, right there, which is a little heavy, but I had some 16 gauge and that's what I made it out of. So let's go ahead and do a walk around of everything we've got. All right, the cover's made. The trunk pan is modified and ready to go in. I just got to trim everything up and fit it and weld all of this in and epoxy it, and we'll be good there. Let's go up to the front. I've got the column started going in. Is not exactly where it goes. It'll slide down. I'm working on that now. The engine, let's walk through the engine. Our engine is mounted, 100% mounted. Motor mounts done. Transmissions installed. You can see it back there. We'll go up underneath. Now, let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm trying to clear to make sure we're putting a supercharger on here, a belt-driven supercharger. So what's gonna happen here is these carburetors are going in a box. We're gonna machine a billet box, pressurize the whole box with the carbs. We're modifying two 500 2-barrels to go on here. Which I think is just totally sweet. And what I've done here is mock the hood up to make sure I got plenty of clearance. In fact, this is lower than the hood and the intake is up about a 1/2 inch higher because this is a set of All Pro old heads I had, and they actually raise up the intake just a little bit. So basically that's what's gonna happen here. So this is our intake. This is gonna have our box on it here. Our supercharger will be here, blowing into the box. We're custom making all of that. So I got the radiator in, ordered it in, bolt in, padded a little bit. Just got to drill the holes, get it bolted. We're gonna have plenty of room because I'm gonna put a mechanical fan on it instead of electric. Working on the steering column, like I said, over here. I just ain't made my sleeve yet, so that's still in the works in progress. Next episode, hopefully, we'll have that done. Now we're gonna climb down here under the car and check out our frame connectors. All right, the frame connectors turned out just badass, dude. They fit great. I'm stitching them together. If you look right over here, they turned out nice. They just look factory, dude. They're 11 gauge. I'm stitched them in. They got the cross member, the new saddle part made. The transmission is installed. The cross member is completed. All of that's done. That's, like I said, our mock-up engine. So all of this is ready. What I'm gonna do under here is I'm just gonna seam seal this, and then when I undercoat it. And we got like a solid frame, because so you can see right here, we've got this 1.5 by 3 here, okay? Tied to this 11, that's 11 gauge, and then this is 11 gauge. So we have like a full frame, 100% welded under this car. So, and of course we done showed you the back, all of that's done. Well, look at that big old tire. Ain't that just so awesome? So we're getting close to being done here. I say being done. We still got to do some stuff in here. I got to finish welding that in completely. That's been fitted, needs to be welded in. And I've got to do all of this work here. I've got a new patch panel to go, and we can start. I'm probably gonna put a roll cage in it. Nothing crazy, but you know, I can hide the hoop right up through here, run it down, because we may take this thing to drag week, and that'd just be badass. So that's all we've got on Mama Boogie. It's really come a long way just in the last few weeks. So, you know, who knows? Well, stay tuned to next week's episode, or I may drop it later this week. I just tripped over the engine hoist. We got the boogie hauler out and we fired it up. And we got a lot of stuff done on it too over the 4th of July holiday. So stay tuned. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Chris Dunn, AKA the Boogie Man.